al palco. Che bello vedere le bandiere di tutto il mondo, vedervi qui.
Laudetur Jesus Christus, and welcome to Vatican Radio's live coverage of the 10th edition of the World Meeting of Families, which we are joining in progress. They have just begun the afternoon session for the second full day of events here at the Paul VI Hall in Rome, in Vatican City. Most of the events are in fact taking place in the Paul VI Hall, although there are other events in other venues here in Rome. Before we bring you to the presenters, I would like to thank our partners throughout the world, including Catholic TV, Catholic Faith Network, EWTN TV, Atmadarshan TV, and Luminous Radio.
In our midst. Thank you for your presence. It was a major effort to bring them here, but they are here because they believe in the family, they believe in the church. We have representatives of different churches of Ukraine here.
Anche questa gioia, questo momento che abbiamo avuto qui ci fa ricordare
joyful moment that we had reminds us of Genesis. We heard from different witnesses that you two, as families, many of you, World Youth Days, GMG, World Youth Days. Many of you have met here, have met during World Youth Days. And we have a couple, and they're actually working to organize the World Youth Day in Lisbon, and they brought a short video clip that we would like to show you right now.
We're seeing now a clip of concerning World Youth Day.
Meu nome é Beatriz, sou voluntária da Jornada Mundial da Juventude, Lisboa 2023, que vai decorrer de
Hello, my name is Beatrice. I work as a volunteer for World Youth Day from August the 1st to the 6th of next year. We're working to make sure that this is a memorable experience. Pray with us. Thank you. My name is Elder. I'm a volunteer at World Youth Day 2023, which will take place from August 1st to the 6th. It will become a memorable experience. We wait for you here in Lisbon with a lot of enthusiasm.
Olá a todos, eu sou Isabel e sou voluntária da Jornada Mundial de la Juventud Lisboa 2023, que tendrá lugar de 1 a 7 de agosto del próximo año. Estamos preparando todo para que sea una experiencia memorable. Os esperamos con mucha ilusión. Ven, rega por nosotros y hasta entonces.
Ciao a tutti, sono Giuseppe, sono volontario nella Giornata Mondiale della Gioventù che si svolgerà a Lisbona dal 1 al 6 agosto 2023. Noi stiamo lavorando per rendere questo avvenimento memorabile. Vi aspettiamo e contiamo sulla vostra preghiera.
Hello everyone, my name is Duarte. I'm the Executive Secretary of the World Youth Day Lisbon 2023, which will take place next year from the 1st to the 6th of August. We are preparing everything to make it a memorable experience, and we are waiting for you with great enthusiasm here in Lisbon. Come and pray for us.
As a brief video welcoming all of us to World Youth Day in Lisbon, set for 2023.
Noi abbiamo voluto farvi vedere questo video per due motivi. Uno, perché voi siete i genitori di quelli che verranno alla GMG. Dunque, che possiate anche nel vostro paese appoggiare.
As you could see in this video, the great enthusiasm for this initiative. Many of us have lived this beautiful experience, which is World Youth Day, and we hope that with the family pastoral care, with this horizontal work that we carry out involving the different activities of pastoral care, that you can truly encourage your young people in your countries to take part in World Youth Day. And then as a dicastery, we actually have the responsibility of working together with the WYD. Our dicastery works with many different areas, and one of them is youth pastoral care. So we count on your support. Very well. And now we changed our position. Normally, Gabriella would be here in this session. I will be acting as the moderator because Gabriella Gambino and Giovanni Nuzzi right now will help us in talking about the marriage catechumenate. Giovanni Nuzzi and Ms. Gambino, they're Italian, they've been married for 25 years, and just like our prefect, how he says normally, the main feature of Gabriella, in addition to all the things that I will read here, is that they have 5 children. For the longest time, they have dedicated their efforts to family pastoral care. Giovanni Nuzzi, he is an attorney, and he's an executive working in a company. He's an expert in legal affairs and company law. And academically, by the way, he was a full professor of comparative public law at the European University in Rome. He published several articles on contract law, project financing, telecommunications, transport, antitrust legislation, and so on. Gabriella Gambino in 2017 was appointed by the Holy Father Francis Under Secretary of the Dicastery for the Laity, Family and Life, and more specifically for all issues related to family and life. She has a PhD in bioethics. She is professor at the Pontifical John Paul II Institute for Studies on Marriage and the Family here in Rome. She mostly focuses on the issues related to human life, marriage, and the family. So I would like to give them the floor at this point. I would like to reiterate the need for a new catechumenate in preparation for marriage, welcoming the auspices expressed by the fathers of the last ordinary synod. It is urgent to implement immediately what they have suggested in Familiaris Consortio. And just like for the baptism of adults, catechumenate is part of the sacramental process. In the same way, the preparation for marriage should become an integral part of the entire sacramental procedure for marriage, as an antidote that can prevent the multiplying of wedding celebrations that are null or inconsistent. To access the sacrament of matrimony, engaged couples should develop the certainty that in their union there is the hand of God that comes before them and accompanies them, allowing them to say with the grace of Christ, I promise to be faithful to you always. People cannot promise each other faithful in joy and sorrows, in good health and in sickness, and love and honor each other for the rest of their lives just based on goodwill or hope, on the hope that the marriage will work. They need to be based on the sound foundation of God's faithful love. And for this, before receiving the sacrament of marriage, an accurate preparation is required. I would say a catechumenate, because our life is at stake with love, and you cannot play with love. You cannot just say preparation for marriage and just to speak about this in 2 or 3 meetings in the parish. This is not preparation. This is a sham. It's fake preparation. It is not a formal act. We're talking about a sacrament. It has to be prepared with a true catechumenate. It is a privilege to be here today and listen to the words of the Holy Father again. In listening to his words, some questions come to mind as parents. What is the greatest concern, the greatest worry for us parents when we think about the future of our children? Well, we hope that they will find a way, their own way. And in particular, for us Christian parents, we hope that they will find their vocation. In front of this restlessness and this concern that we all share, the words of the Holy Father that we have just heard are the answer. The document that we have the honor of presenting to you today is the answer that we as families were waiting for. On the occasion of the Year of the Family Amoris Laetitia, the Dicastery for the Laity, Family and Life published the catechumenal itineraries for married life. These are pastoral guidelines for particular churches, a very precious document that the Holy Father entrusts to pastors and lay people who work in family pastoral care. The text is aimed at renewing the preparation for marriage for the next generations and accompany our children in their vocation. Today, therefore, we are here for three basic reasons: to receive a gift, to take on a task, and to start a process. Just like the Holy Father says, it is a path, a new path as church. It is a process that involves us all and will involve us all, pastors and lay people. And this will call us to be creative, bold, and enterprising, and let us be guided by the Holy Spirit. These catechumenal itineraries are also a sign of the far-sighted leadership of the Holy Father, who once again decided to respond in an effective and tangible way to a true pastoral urgency, taking care of the young people of today who will become the families of tomorrow. And our contribution is aimed at presenting to you the spirit and the motivations that led to the drafting of the itineraries. It is not a ready-made course, what we will be presenting to you, but rather a tool for pastoral reflection, which, starting from a number of general principles, is meant to provide help to particular churches so that they might prepare their own paths or itineraries in the wake of what was suggested by the Holy Father, based on the possibilities and the particular features of each individual place, with freedom and pastoral intelligence. The itineraries are addressed to bishops, to parish priests, couples and lay people in general, who have a responsibility when it comes to preparation for marriage and have responsibilities in pastoral care. And these itineraries can be used in any domain of pastoral care, from those who have responsibility for the catechesis of children to adolescents, including those who accompany the spouses in order to favor the development of a pastoral care that is truly cross-sectoral. We need to gradually change the basic approach of vocational pastoral care so that it explicitly includes marriage next to consecrated life. But what is the cultural context in which this proposal is placed? We're all aware that the contemporary context puts the vocation to marriage to the test. The increasingly lower number of people who get married, the fact that marriages often break up very early, the problem also of the validity of the marriages that are celebrated are an enormous and urgent challenge. As the Holy Father reminds us of, what is at stake is the fulfillment and the happiness of so many people all over the world. We are all worried about the choices our children will make. Will they have the courage of getting married? Will their marriage last forever and built on respect and also on what is good and on trusting God? If we look at the contemporary fragility of marriage, there are many reasons for this. The hedonistic mindset, which distorts the beauty of human sexuality, a limited understanding of the nuptial sacrament as a gift and as an active presence of Christ in our daily lives. The subtle fear of our inadequacy vis-à-vis the commitments and the engagements of married life, the fear of stepping into our own greatness, the fear of becoming a mother and a father. But how can we overcome, how can we vanquish this fear? What is the opposite of fear? Trust. And trust is something, and confidence. It's not something that you can acquire by yourself. Individually, I would have never overcome my fears of becoming a husband if I hadn't met friends who were open and supportive and a welcoming and attentive community that allowed me to understand that there was a design, a plan that God had for me and for us that might help me to trust a provident Father. And I believe this is the essence of the catechumenate that was suggested by Pope Francis, a path, a welcoming path on the part of a community that is able to accompany you, cherish you, and encourage you. Well, why is it not enough to have a short preparation for marriage? Why is the Holy Father asking us to discard the principle of that this is the way things have always been done? Because marriage is truly a vocation. That's not just a figure of speech. It is a vocation that requires discernment, aimed at propelling our children in the future, giving them a more specific Christian identity, making them mature and determined in overcoming the trials and tribulations of life. And in this framework, the celebration of the nuptial rite is in no way a destination. Actually, it is the beginning of a spousal life where husband and wife will acquire a renewed Christian identity, as is the case with priests and men and women religious. And during this life, they will need to be accompanied. The Church devotes a lot of time, the Holy Father states, to the preparation of candidates for religious life, but it dedicates very little time, or not enough time, to those who prepare for marriage. Why does it take a long time in the seminary for priests, and instead to form two individuals to start a family, just a few meetings are needed? The Lord calls everybody to one vocation or another with the same intensity, just like a priest and consecrated men and women. Lay people are beloved, the children of the Mother Church. So such a huge difference in treatment, the Holy Father says, is not adequate. The couples, married couples, are actually the biggest portion of our faithful, and they are the pillars, the columns supporting the Church in movements and in parishes. From families, vocations are born, and families actually make up the fabric of society, and they can sew up the tears in the fabric of society with their daily patience and sacrifices. We have experienced this during the pandemic. Therefore, it is a duty of justice, the Holy Father states, that the Church devotes greater time and energy to the preparation for those whom the Lord calls to fulfill such an important mission like the family. It is not a matter of preparing someone for a test or an exam. They must be prepared for a life to live. We should not and must not fill vases. We have to light up fires. We have to start fires. We have to prepare the couples better so that they can experience life in Christ. But in order to do so, we have to go beyond the classical, let's say, scheme of courses for preparation of marriage. Rather than courses, we need itinerary paths, catechumenal paths, just like for baptism, a permanent accompaniment in the acquisition of a Christian lifestyle that is aimed to make sure that amongst engaged couples first and married couples later, that the mystery of grace can re-echo and resonate. It is decisive that they experience the presence of Christ ever since they are engaged, right from the very beginning. Hence, it is absolutely fundamental that such paths last long enough to allow couples to actually mature. Starting from the tangible experience of human love, however, preparation should put at the center faith and the encounter with Jesus Christ. And they should also include stages marked wherever possible and where it is appropriate by rites of passage to be celebrated within the community. We must get used to basically walking this path, along this path, right by engaged people's side, nurturing their growth so that their life can draw upon the faith of the Church, and family life can become ecclesial life. This is why we're all involved as a church, and the catechumenate has the aim of including and basically making sure that the spouses become part of the community and do not just start a family. Therefore, marriage is a vocation, and a vocation requires discernment. How can we help engage couples to engage in a true personal discernment and also discernment as a couple? A lot of dialogue is needed, customized meetings and moments of prayer and celebration of the sacraments, spiritual retreats, phases and rites that marked stages of both human and spiritual growth. What will be needed is also dialogue amongst couples, the involvement of external experts, but also the involvement of older couples that have a long experience of married life. We have experienced this during also the time when we were engaged, and we needed to delve into important issues such as our differences, the need for love, and also affectivity. But first of all, we needed to encounter Christ. We needed to understand whether God was calling us to get married. If engaged couples do not know whether they belong to Christ, then how can they build a truly Christian marriage, and not just any marriage, where the spouses only rely on their own strengths and therefore risk not making it in the end? In order to effectively implement a renewed pastoral care of married life, it would be preferable if both accompanying couples in parishes and in movements and priests, right from their formation in the seminary, if they were formed and prepared not only when it comes to content, but also they should be prepared to the mutual corresponsibility and complementarity of their roles in the Church. It is the spirit of synodality that catechumenate wants to express and basically reflect. We have to prepare for a true ministry of accompaniment of young people to marriage, or even better, to married life. Young people who perhaps are already living together, they might already have children when they go to church to get married. Getting ready and preparing ourselves is necessary to be formed, to engage in accompaniment style which is adequate to the couples we have in front of us. It would be indispensable to have a formation of future formators that are centered around the new challenges of family pastoral care, including issues related to sexual morals, spousal morals, bioethics, that are part of our daily lives, the daily lives of our families. And we should also form priests right from the seminary to work together with lay people, as I was saying earlier, making sure that their formation is guided towards co-responsibility. And in this regard, a greater number of expert married couples could be teachers in seminaries, and more seminarians should experience marriage pastoral care in the parishes. And so the main aim of the itineraries that the Holy Father would like us to embark upon is to favor a complete discernment, both at individual level and as a couple, regarding our own nuptial vocation, to usher us towards the free and ponder decision to get married, or instead, the decision could be in the opposite direction. The couple might decide not to get married and basically bring their relationship to an end. We need to help couples to understand the difference between preparing for the wedding day and instead preparing for married life with that individual. This is why the itineraries are structured, we hope that are structured in different steps, starting from a remote preparation that includes also the pastoral care of children and young people, to instead the marriage pastoral care with 3 stages: a longer proximal stage, a second stage of immediate preparation that is shorter, and then a third step or stage of accompaniment of couples in the first years of married life. And this should be aimed at including the family in the ordinary family pastoral care of the parish, diocese, or eparchy. These itineraries are aimed at linking together right from childhood the discovery of the Christian faith and the initiation to the sacraments with the discovery of either marriage or religious vocation. It is quite likely that this path cannot be implemented in a short time or devised in a short time. As we were mentioning earlier, we have to set a process in motion to change the style in which we address the preparation for marriage. And in the years to come, our younger children will probably benefit from this. Style matters. In implementing these itineraries, what will be essential is the relational style of the pastoral team, be having a welcoming touch, a joy with a charismatic style that becomes a proclamation on the part of the Church and the community, especially with respect to people who have a more limited experience of faith, that must be able to see in married couples, experiencing in themselves, that married life is beautiful and is possible. Furthermore, the widespread presence of couples that are already living together and have children who ask to be married in the Church requires the development of paths that are centered around the real circumstances of these individuals who need a special care. And in these cases especially, what is needed is a customized or personalized accompaniment. In this case as well, what is important is to make sure that people can mature along the path of faith and conversion. As we were mentioning earlier, the itineraries envisage a remote preparation for children to married life ever since they attend the catechism. I wanted to get married ever since I was a little girl. The example of my married parents and the tangible circumstances of my family, the simplest ones, such as the pictures from their wedding day scattered around the house, the recollection that they always shared with us of the importance of the sacraments during hard times. And in my heart, this has prepared a fertile ground in order to wish to get married. And today there are so many situations, so many families in which marriage, in the eyes of children, does not seem really that desirable. Many children live in situations where marriage is rejected out of conviction, or in situations where the experience of parents is characterized by constant fighting and tensions, living circumstances that make marriage more of a chore rather than something desirable. How can they get or come to the decision of getting married, these young kids, if no one puts them in a situation to realize that they are loved by a father who, for them too, taught about a beautiful vocation of love? What could put them in the situation of discovering that there is a vocation to marriage, considering their difficult experience in their family of origin? To all these children and young people, well, we have to think about them. Remote preparation, so distant, really chronologically. Ever since childhood, this is aimed at preparing the soil, the ground, in which the germs of a possible vocation to married life can be planted. And this will happen if we convey to children the desire to get married. We do not get married because we have to, but because we believe. We believe in the idea of marriage. This is why it's so important to develop the baptismal identity of young people in a perspective of vocation, which can be also a spousal vocation. According to the proposal related to the catechumenate, this formation process started during childhood but continue with adolescents and young people, so that they do not get to the decision of getting married just by pure chance, and after an adolescence that marked by frustrating and painful emotional experiences, both for their spiritual and personal life. Having this goal clear in our minds, then these itineraries of education for sexuality and affectivity to form our children should not just be limited to prepare them to the total self-giving in love, because today love is interpreted as romantic love. Rather, this should be part of a clear picture, a spousal vision of love. We have to talk about Christian marriage, using the word marriage with our children. Families by themselves really are not able to educate their children to affectivity in view of marriage. It needs the help of the church. So many parents nowadays are not able to talk about sexuality with their children. They really cannot have a very serene, peaceful dialogue based on clear values to accompany their children. And this is why one of the next panels that we have prepared for you will focus on the launching on the platform, where we have gathered a number of programs for education to activity to help both parents and educators. We have to help each other. Families cannot be left alone in this mission, in this task of saving the happiness and fullness of life of their children. For all these reasons, the pastoral care of married life cannot just be confined to the limited confines of meetings organized for engaged couples. Instead, in a long time, it should involve several domains of pastoral care. We have to avoid a compartmentalized vision of pastoral care, always having in mind this vocational vision to unify and give consistency to the journey of faith and life of each individual. Father Alessandro earlier revealed this. We have been married for 25 years. If there is one thing that today we can highlight in our marriage, one aspect, one feature, is that even if we got married in the faith for many, many years, we were not really too much aware of the grace of the sacrament and of the real presence of Christ in our midst. Unaware of how this presence could have positive repercussions on our daily lives and on the life of our children. Well, we were prepared for marriage almost as if everything ended with the celebration of the wedding ceremony. If that was the end goal that we should pursue, getting married. And this perhaps has contributed to characterizing many of the tribulations that we had to deal with in the ensuing years. The long-term preparation for marriage that is included in these itineraries are meant to sow those seeds so that couples can understand the existential and human implications of marriage in our lives, with the aim of engaged couples to faith, making sure that they can approach praying together and the life of the church. Of course, helping couples right from the very beginning to then establish right from the very beginning their relationship in the right way and cherish the art of becoming mature men and women. The purpose, therefore, is that of preparing couples to married life rather than to marriage. In our experiences when we were engaged, we had the privilege both to be able to engage in a vocational discernment before marriage, and this allowed us to be certain of our initial vocation. But one thing was missing, however, a path that was aimed at deepening our mutual knowledge, our interpersonal relationship. This has made the first years of our marriage harder in a way, because it is almost as if we were getting to know each other for the first time. And of course, this has meant also seeing good things, being pleasantly surprised, but also being unpleasantly surprised in a way and being disappointed. In the same way, what was missing was that training, let's say, or exercising prayer together. We both cherished our individual lives of prayer, but as the Holy Father says, we were not one in Christ, and tangibly and really we were pursuing different spiritual roads. We know very well that our difficulties are the usual difficulties that all married couples experience, and for this reason, after marriage, then accompaniment should be introduced at least during the first few years as part of the catechumenate. The celebration of the rite is the beginning of a path, of a journey that must take place with the Church, not alone. It's a responsibility that involves everyone, because this means establishing the conditions in order to help spouses to prevent breakups, separations, and suffering. This is why one of the important aspects of the catechumenate is the introduction of the marriage mystagogy. So basically, spouses must be helped in approaching the mystery of the celebrated sacrament, allowing them to understand what happened to them on the day they got married, i.e., they were transformed by the presence of Jesus Christ, whom then through the sacrament basically breaks into their lives. They have to be helped to perceive the signs of the presence of God, knowing that they can turn to Him together in prayer. The grace of the sacrament takes action in our daily lives. There are so many new things that need to be learned. And thank goodness, I always, think when there are situations of crisis, thank goodness we have our entire life to learn how to love each other. The duration of marriage, the forever, right? It is really a relief, truly. It is a gift, because we have all our lives to grow and do better. Marriage pastoral care in this way can become a pastoral care of the bond, with the aim of helping spouses to overcome together the hard times, to hold each other in great esteem, and to cherish their marriage and defend their marriage. And it should be a pastoral care of mission. So the spouses should always be reminded of the specific sense of the mission of being Christian spouses. Thousands of Christian families have no clue. They have no idea of this calling to the mission that they receive when they get married in a parish. No one explains that to them. They are the spouses that we should take care of nowadays, so that they feel as protagonists in building up the church. The Holy Father has also asked that a special attention would be reserved to the accompaniment of married couples going through a crisis. So many spouses are experiencing profound suffering and leave each other deeply wounded. On this point, the document invites all institutions and parishes to set up a pastoral care service that is dedicated to those who are going through a hard time in their relationship, to safeguard their marital bond and also making sure that these people don't get a divorce. In conclusion, spouses and pastors together, we're all called upon to proclaim to young people that married life, despite the toils and tribulations, is the answer to their most profound expectations, that the sacrament of matrimony is not an obligation, but rather a gift, a grace that is offered, a help that God makes available to us in order to fulfill the needs of love and to walk together on the path to holiness. And these itineraries that the Holy Father is suggesting to us, this is very complex. Many people will be puzzled and will think that maybe this proposal will not be feasible and there will be a lot of resistant inertia. Many of us will be discouraged by fear and hindrances, but we have to have the courage of doing whatever we can to accompany young people towards the beauty and the abundance of grace of married life and family life. It is a wonderful mission, and what is at stake is the life of our children. For this reason, we would like once again to express our gratitude to the Church and to the Holy Father Francis for this gift, for this task, and for the care that he has shown for our children and our families. So let us overcome any fear we might have, and together let us try to renew the pastoral care of the preparation to married life, for married life. Thank you.